defensive side of the ball, defensive line. And you've got some star power on Indianapolis. Dwight Freeney gets a lot of headlines. Robert Mathis doesn't. He may be one of the most underrated D ends in America. And how about D tackles? You got Eric Foster, underrated. I love him, the kid out of Rutgers. Dan Muir, couple underrated guys. Size them up for me.
Well, I'm going with the Colts in this matchup because they can rush the passer from both ends. You know, you look at the Saints, they only can really rush the passer from one side, which is Will Smith. But when you face the Colts, you have the trouble of trying to block both sides of the protection. So they can get pressure. You look at Muir, outstanding, makes a lot of plays in the backfield. Outstanding D tackle, makes a lot of plays. I can't really stress that enough. A lot of plays. Fast, quick, agile, makes a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. That's what you want out your defensive front. The Colts have this one easy because they can rush the passer, and those two D tackles get a lot of production.
I'm going to give the edge to the Colts also, but the Saints have some promise, and the way Greg Williams calls the plays, it helps them succeed. Anthony Hargrove had some penalties in there, but he's a beast. Will Smith, they lost Charles Grant, but McCray and company. So I'm going to give the edge to the Colts, but the Saints could make some noise on that D line. Now let's talk about linebackers. Clint Sessions, very underrated player. Jonathan Vilma for the Saints. Who are you giving the edge to here?
I don't know, man. That's another.
I'm going with the Colts.
You're going with the Colts. All right. I would have to say it's a slight edge to the Colts because those outside linebackers can be active in the run game. The Saints' outside linebackers are non-existent in the run game. They're outstanding pass. They can cover. You know, those Shanley and Fajita, they can cover, but as far as in the run game, they struggle. The Colts linebackers are athletic. Now, the Saints do have a better middle linebacker in Vilma who can cover and run. And I do like Gary Brackett. He's a vocal leader. He's aggressive, but he's not Jonathan Vilma. So, totality, I'm going to have to say the Colts by a smidge.
Absolutely. That's very, very close call right there. Now, let's talk about defensive backs. This is going to be very interesting because both teams are going to throw the ball a lot, you know. Indianapolis banged up in the secondary. Antoine Bethea, up-and-coming player. He's had his ups and downs, but a couple years down the line, he could be one of the best safeties in the league. And the Saints, led by Darren Sharper, surefire Hall of Famer. Then they got the two corners. They bring in a rookie, Malcolm Jenkins, and Randall Gay, which you think could be a problem for the Saints. So who are you sizing up here? Who are you taking as who has the edge?
I think the Saints have the better secondary because the Colts right now, you look at injuries. Now, if you add Marlon Jackson, if you add Bob Sanders, you know, then you have it's a push because both, you know, you have a playmaker as a safety. You also have two solid corners. But the Saints with two solid corners, very underrated group in Porter and Greer and Sharper as a free safety. So that's a nucleus right there that's geared towards success. The Colts, the injuries, they don't have the depth. You know, I like Hayden, but Hayden is also out as well too. You know, you look at Bethea, I love Bethea's the way he plays the game. So that's another matchup. But I think the Saints have an edge in the secondary.
I mean, it's a bend but don't break secondary for the Saints. They'll give up some plays, but when they need it, they'll come up with some plays with Porter and Greer. They're underrated. Porter's young, just back from injury, but he's still good. Darren Sharper. I don't think Roman Harper is that big of a liability, so I like the Saints because the Colts are banged up and they haven't seen a pass attack like the Saints. So
one thing the Saints cornerbacks have is great man-to-man coverage skills. So you could put Greer and Porter out there on the island to match up well. They're physical and they have ball skills. When you have cornerbacks that can catch as equally as the receivers, that makes your defense that much better because now you have the freedom to blitz even more and not worry about those guys getting beat deep.
And the all-important special teams, my belief is that whoever makes the biggest play in this game, you always say it, you could sum up a football game in 3 plays.
Right.
If 1 or 2 of those plays are a big Reggie Bush return for a touchdown or a big return or a big play, I think that could sway the difference for the winner here. So who are you giving the special teams nod to? We can talk about kickers here, punters, kick returners.
Saints have the edge because they have the better returners. Both kicking game, punter and kicker, are even. Both these guys, punters, can kick the hell out of the football. So that's a great thing. And the kickers, Stover's more battle-tested, veteran, been playing since the early 90s. So he's battle tested. He's a great leg, great kicker. You know, Saints have a young guy back there in Hartley. So the kicking game, I'll give kicking to the kickers. I give that to the Colts. Punters, push, return of Saints. So overall, I think the Saints have the better special teams unit because they can return both kickoffs with Roby as well as punts. And Pierre Thomas can also return kicks as well.
Yeah, you got Roby, Bush, Pierre Thomas gets in there. Chad Simpson for the Colts. He can do it. But I think this may come down to one of those big plays that could decide a football game.